Hello there and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be going over Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. This is definitely a fun installment. It kind of starts the trend of him going to, different places. This next trilogy is kind of like his, some people call it his vacation series or his I don't know, there's just a bunch of different things where like he just goes on like a bunch of different little trips that are like not in Crystal Lake. This was the last Friday movie released in the 80s as it came out in 1989, I believe, and it was the first sequel to ever have a repeating actor play Jason, and that's why everybody loves Kane Hodder, because of all of his body language from the last movie definitely carries through to this one. It definitely spends a lot of time on a boat and a small time in Manhattan, but I still think that that's a very fun scene. So with all of that being said, as part of the Friday the 13th review series, let's get right into Jason Takes Manhattan. Okay, so I definitely love the premise of this movie and kind of like it being on a ship. I love boats, I love things like that. The nautical kind of scene and the haunted ship aspect that's going on there is really, really fun. My favorite part, or one of my favorite parts, is definitely this opening here wherever he is resurrected from the last chapter. His new blood resting place. I think that's so haunting. It's one of my favorite things about sequels is that they show what happens or where the aftermath of the last events are, and I always love seeing the aftermath of a traumatic event. So right off the bat, I love that. There are a lot of fun kills in this movie. They're very intricate and different, like the one with the harpoon gun, and there's a bunch of different interesting characters here. Now, a problem that kind of goes on with all of these movies is they kind of fail a little bit at capturing my attention with the characters after like the first 2 or 3. Even those installments they don't have like the strongest characters, and I get that because this franchise is mostly about Jason needing bodies to slash off. So I appreciate whatever they're doing there. I do, however, wish they would have spent a little less time on the boat and more time in New York. And then, well, I think I'll say that whenever we get there. So basically, I wish that there would have been more at the camp and like more of him like leading onto the boat. And then I think it should have been in thirds, like beginning third, camp, middle third, boat, last third, Manhattan. That would have been nice, would have been awesome if you would have kept it interesting, kept the pacing, make sure it flowed. It could have been done really, really well. I'm not saying it's not. I definitely really like this one over some of the other installments, but it is still messy for whatever they're trying to give you, I think the best part of this movie is seeing him in New York. I love him in the Manhattan, standing in the Times Square. It's perfect, it's iconic, and it's really, really creepy. I would say my favorite part of this film, actually, besides the opening, is how he just is wandering through the crowd like that. I really wish there would have been more of him just like slashing people as he was like walking, and just like everybody in chaos like running, and if he was like attacking townspeople and just dropping like 10 bodies like a minute, just like walking through a crowd and like cutting through like tons of people. That would have been awesome. I get that there was budget back then. That's kind of the other thing that I'm going to talk about now that I said, I'll get to that later. There's a lot of parts of this film that are in alleyways and turning corners and dark stuff because they weren't actually able to film a lot in New York, and you can kind of tell that you can tell in that because they really draw out these scenes of them being like harassed in an alleyway by these like drug dealers, and it's really long and uncomfortable and kind of unnecessary. And if anything, they just kind of throw those people in there so that Jason can have people to kill, and that's not really what we want. Whenever we want to root for someone to die, it's this whole other topic. They should be a whole other force in the film, a certain character type. You don't just like throw a drug addict in there in like the last 30 minutes of the film who's gonna like try to like rape and drug somebody up, and they're in the scene for 10 minutes and then Jason just kills them. It's like no one cares, and it just, it wasn't really done well. That's kind of a nitpick I have. Another part, even though it was really fun to see this movie, I have a lot of fun with it, but it's hard for me whenever we're talking about like the whole like toxic waste and the sludge at the end, and how the ghost kind of keeps popping up throughout the movie. They really just are like suspending your beliefs each more with each chapter, and I get it, it's fine, but really this is where they start driving that in there for you. And I like the ghost and the young aspect of him being younger, but it just didn't make too much sense, so I guess we're not going to pay too much attention to that, which is fine. Now, when it comes to what he looks like, he pretty much gets unmasked in every movie, and in this one, I have to say I am not a fan, like maybe at all. I like every other installment better. It was very, very poor special effects. I don't really care for the way he looked. It was cheap, and when they threw the acid on his face, it kind of just looked like styrofoam melting. I was kind of disappointed in that. You know, there are some other qualities of this film that are a lot of fun, like I said, with like the haunting boat parts, and like whenever he's like fighting that boxer, even that was a little kind of drawn out for me. Whenever it comes around to making these movies, I get that whenever you're 8 chapters into a film, how do you continue to make it fresh, you know? What parts are going to work for people and what aren't, you know? So I really appreciate them for trying to go for that. And back then, this really probably did work a lot, but as it well, does it do as well holding up? I'm not sure that it does if you don't have the nostalgia aspect that most people do when watching this franchise, and it doesn't make the film bad. You know, it's got the things that it's good. Every film has its flaws, but it kind of just it floats somewhere in the middle for me. It's one of those turn my mind off movies. I definitely like anytime I'm watching Jason though, pretty much, so I'll always have fun with a Friday film. Now, horror movies and slasher movies are like my favorite things, and a lot of the times I like to talk about my favorite things and what worked for me and give my little input or whatnot, but for this one, I think mostly my viewpoints on it are just that I'm kind of just thinking about the ways that it could have been a better slasher film, you know? I wish there could have been more suspense or different camera angles. I just feel like it could have been a little bit more elevated in what they gave us. And like I said, when you're 8 chapters in, it gets hard to juggle all of that. Well, that was my review for Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Probably not one of the longer ones. I had very, quick thoughts about this one. Whenever I really, really love them or really, really are frustrated by them, I can just talk and talk and talk and talk. But like I said, this one's just kind of, it's fair, it's there. So, but like I said, I think what saves this for me is that I really do love boats and ships and stuff. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, like below, what your favorite parts are, what worked for you or what didn't, what part of the, Jason trilogy where he's traveling around and going to different places is your favorite. Personally, out of the next 3, I prefer Jason X because I like space. Then I would have to go this chapter and then 9. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to doing those ones, and I'm excited for Jason X. If you don't know, I'm going to be watching it with Chris Snyder on the House of the Living Dead channel, and that is going to be a lot of fun because it's a very controversial installment. A lot of things can be said about it, but hey, that one just really works for me, just like how I'm sure this one really works for some other people. So that's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Stick around for that. Make sure you check for the links and such. We'll keep them posted. I'm sure you know by now that I'm doing these videos as a part of the Friday the 13th review series. And every week for 8 weeks now, this has been one of the best things. I've had to be on my grind and pumping out a video like every week, watching all these movies, interacting with them, liking and commenting and subscribing for them, getting their viewpoints, wondering how it changes all of mine. It's a lot, and it's really fun, so there's always content to be engaged in, and so there's no excuse to be bored. And if you're ever disagree with one of our many aspects or opinions, there's 5 other people or channels that will surely have something that you'll like. They'll have to mention something, we're pretty much covering all of the different aspects. So be sure to check out their videos and channels. I'll have them linked in the description below. I would really appreciate that. They're all my friends, and we talk in group chats weekly, and it's super fun that all of you guys get to watch all of this happen too. Once again, from my Friday the 13th box set Blu-ray, deluxe edition collection, I have the Jason Takes Manhattan Blu-ray here. This is such a fun cover artwork, and I love the red aspect. New York looks beautiful, and once again, it has that same buck knife from this franchise and the Scream franchise. Well, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to stick around and check out some of my other videos. I've done a bunch of different genres, and I plan to do a bunch more. I've even gone to some location visits, and I'm definitely going to be doing some more live streams soon. In case if you don't know, Destiny Faulkner and I are going to be doing monthly, maybe even twice a month, live streams, and we're going to be doing a bunch of different movies, not necessarily horror related, because I do a bunch of different movies on this channel, even though horror is my favorite, and I will definitely be going over that, don't worry. But we're definitely going to get a lot of different things underneath of our belt. We have very similar personalities, interests, and likes, and it's really, really fun hanging out and talking with her. So anytime that some of those are coming up, be sure to check that out. And make sure to look for whenever I post something new. And thanks for watching. All right, see you next time. Bye.